Hour.
And today we have actor, producer, filmmaker, Leonard Searcy joining us. Hello, Leonard.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing all right.
Doing
Good.
good.
Yes, happy to be here.
Yes, we're excited to have you. We have so much to talk about, so much to cover and go over. But before we do, I want to get to know you on just a Leonard level. So, can you tell us something fun, interesting about yourself?
Yeah, so currently my eyes are dilated, so everything is super bright. Right? My peripherals are going crazy right now, and I can hardly see you guys. But I'm here, and I'm excited.
I love it. That's okay, because I mean, personally, like Alan looks great and normal. I look like I probably just rolled out of bed. So the blurriness is probably a better look anyway.
I wouldn't be able to contest that or anything. So
not yet. By the end of the podcast, who knows? It'll clear up.
That's true.
It'll clear up.
Exactly.
Like,
and then
you lied.
Yeah.
Halfway through the podcast, we're just going to say, that's what it's going to be about.
Oh, you're Alan?
Yeah.
Right? Exactly.
That's hilarious.
Oh, so, I mean, have to ask. You're dilated. Do you have to get glasses?
No. I went to an eye doctor today just to see, do just a checkup. So, they went through the motions, and I got my eyes dilated, and so driving back home was crazy. Yeah. But
that's never fun.
I made it.
Yeah. And they were like, Leonard, you're perfect. Get out of here.
Yeah. I like see me in 2 months. I'm like, oh, okay. But
2 months. Jeez.
Not if you're gonna dilate me again.
Right.
Like my eyes. Oh, amazing. All right.
And here we are forcing you to look into a computer screen late at night.
This is definitely not good for your eyes anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen anyway. I think that's what got me here, So,
just get the blue filter glasses or whatever.
Yeah, I have those, and I don't know why I don't use them. I don't know why I don't use them enough. But the doctor said that I've probably been stressing a lot because of the way that my tests were. That said, the results that they got, they see in me what they see in people who are like hyper focused and are like type A people, not necessarily like type A, but like high achiever type of people.
Yeah.
And I just knew he was lying. I'm like, yeah, that's not me at all. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You and your lofty goals.
But this mix. Right.
You really should aim lower,
Yeah, because he was like, we see this a lot in Wall Street bankers and, people who just take on very high stressful jobs. I'm like, hey,
what?
Cool.
It's not me. It's not me. Yeah. He's a great doctor, though. This is maybe an anomaly.
Yeah.
All right. Just for you.
But yeah, putting on this mixer thing. I know that we're here to talk about film and things like that. I can't admit that I've been hyper focused on that thing. So I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
That hyperfixation type of thing. When,
exactly. Yeah, requires a lot of focus.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm really happy to be here, man. I watched Justin's interview. I was just jealous, I was like, how did he get in there before me? Like,
Well, ours is just audio. I know he did another podcast also recently, I think, with who was that? I forget his name. Matt Osterman. I think he started one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
So
But
many of us out there.
we're here to
So I
talk about
heard it.
you,
I
Leonard.
heard it. I didn't
So,
see it.
Yeah.
what got you started in film or acting, or where did it start here?
Oh, film and acting started. So after high school, I had my son at like 19, and
Oh,
then my daughter at 21. So I ended up not going to college right away.
right.
Uh, and because I was scared,
Hmm.
I just was so nervous about going to college for some reason. Nobody in my family at the time had gone to college, and so it was just one of those things where. And so when I finally worked up the courage to go, I wanted to go for business, but I had to take an elective, uh, and the only one that was left was acting.
Hmm.
Right.
Mhm.
So there was no initial interest or anything like that. And I'm like, I could do this, whatever. So I get into class and we've got like this 90-year-old little tiny Scandinavian or Norwegian woman who was just the most passionate, most irritable like, person that you meet, and she's the greatest storyteller, right? And she just made me fall in love with acting. She made me fall in love with stories, you know. And I remember doing, she like hear me read and things like that in class, and asked me to audition for a play. So I auditioned for a play called Waiting for Lefty, and it's a play about unions.
Oh, uh-huh.
And so I do the play, love the experience. I had to like cry on stage and all this stuff, and I'm like,
Ooh.
this is crazy.
All right.
What? So after after that, I ended up auditioning for the next one. This time, she didn't have to tell me. Um, and the next one, I played a Barbadian, which is really interesting. And he was like a womanizer, just a terrible person. Like after the show, people were, I remember this guy like, I'll knock your block off. Like I was getting threats
Oh,
My
from
gosh.
very old men, who would come to, our community theater
oh,
Jeez.
shows.
had him
But
convinced.
yeah. I guess it's a compliment in a way.
Yeah.
I was kind of nervous. But then I was seen in that play, and I ended up, getting booked for a few other plays. I still didn't really take it seriously. I just loved it.
Mhm.
So I finished school. I went to working and whatnot, went to the work world, got into corporate America and some other stuff. And then uh I started a business, and at that time my mother got sick.
Mhm.
And I remember, there was a time we were talking, and she's like, you're really good at that acting thing. You need to do that. That's what you need to be doing. Right. And I'm like, oh, okay, mama. Like, okay.
Oh,
But we were really concerned about her health because she, this is right before she passed. So she ended up passing away.
Mhm.
And after she passed, there was a moment where, uh, after my grieving, I'm like, I I need to try this thing out. So I put together a business plan, and I remember I told the woman I was seeing at the time, like, "Hey, look, I'm gonna quit my job. You okay with that? I'm I'm gonna try to pursue this thing and see how it works out." And she's like, "Yeah, I believe in you." And so I quit my job, and immediately, I started to put that plan to work, and I was booking jobs, and yeah, I found myself on this ABC TV show in an instant and met some really cool
Wow.
people. And from there, that was really like the beginning. Like that first year was like a really good year for me.
Hmm.
It's like a
Yeah.
really good high start. So it's just down from there, you know. I'm just kidding.
Wow.
Said you're not an
Um,
you're not in a like you don't like have those high aspirations and you aren't like hyper focused. Like you went
right.
into business and now you're just killing it as an actor. I feel like you are downplaying yourself so hard.
What? No, no, no. No, yeah, it's been great. It's been great. And I think that I'm a good actor, but I really, I've gotten into directing lately,
Mm.
and I feel like that I'm probably I can potentially be much better a director. I do a lot of acting coaching. And so, with that, there's some directing and things like that and trying to get out of an actor as much as possible. But getting behind the camera as a director is like, oh, this is natural. Like I see this whole thing, and there's things that I'm able to get out of these actors just because, this is what I've done. And I will say, like, um, where I got that from was I had a director early in my acting. His name is Kevin West. His name is Kevin West. And, he would always just tell us, like, and then, we were doing plays or whatever. He would tell us that we don't act for them, for the crowd, right? We bring them into our world.
Hmm.
So it's all about being honest. It's all about being truthful and finding the truth within, who you are, within the story, the environment, those different things. And so I carry that same kind of philosophy and my own acting, directing, and it's really been good. It's translated really well.
That's amazing. Um, as an actor, I have a lot of questions about your experiences in acting and everything, but I love that you started with that, found that passion and went for it. But that you've found more passion within like throughout filmmaking since then between, I mean, you said that you've, produced, you're really passionate about directing. Are there any like roles in the overall filmmaking process that you maybe haven't touched yet that you're like, I at least want to experience trying to do this? Or
That's a
are you
that's a
really
great
focused
question.
on what you do?
Oh man. Um, you know, sometimes, you know, actors are just crazy, and I'm sure you know that, right? So
Oh,
because we could be anybody, right?
yeah.
Sometimes it's unrealistic. So sometimes my thought is like, oh man, you know what? I kind of want to do the special effects makeup. I kind of, I kind of want, and I have a construction background, so sometimes I think about like building sets. Sometimes I'll think about, just these like I feel like there's not a place that I don't sometimes have like a desire to get involved in. But I know that,
Hmm.
people have a place.
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like
Space.
that's like the way to go though. I mean, wanting to be able to touch every portion of filmmaking, I think that that just shows how important it is to you, like overall, as a
Yeah.
process. And even if you do something and you say, you know what, that's not for me, like being able to experience that only helps you to interact with those with those crew members and whatnot even better moving forward. So I
It
think that
is.
that's great.
I'm inspired every time I'm on a set and you're seeing the grips and the gaffers and you're seeing all these people behind the camera and in front of the camera moving and working and you know, they're moving together, and sometimes it's like poetry, sometimes it's like, oh shit, like
Chaotic. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
chaos. But you know, it's still very inspiring, even being in it. You know, just watching people move the way that they do. Like, I have so much respect for the people who are behind the camera, and I think that's the reason why I even flirt with ideas of, oh man, that'd be cool to do that. That'd be cool to do that, because it is so inspirational. But
Mm.
at the same time, I know what I'm good at. Um, I know what I'm not good at. I know that um, you know, don't trust me to do your special effects makeup.
But how fun would it be to learn?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless you want a
Crazy.
Z movie, you know, if you want a Z
Right.
movie, then we could do that.
48-hour film, yeah. Go for it.
Yes.
That's where you test that out.
I
Okay.
love it.
Got it.
Exactly.
It's only 2 days. We're good.
Right, right. I think I'm a judge for that. For
Yeah.
So yeah, I wouldn't even give it to me. I'd be like you won the worst.
Yeah. Nor
Special
should
effects.
you. No, I'm just kidding.
Right, right.
Wow. Okay. So your origin story is interesting to me. I have so many questions right there. Okay. So you start a family first. You have a family.
Yeah.
Then you're
not
the
on
first. Okay. Well,
I'm just kidding.
this is a public podcast, so your kids, hopefully they don't listen to this.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
definitely
the first to go to
consistency.
college in your family?
Yeah. So my older brother and I may have gotten in the year before him, either the year before him or we went the same year.
Okay.
But uh, I think I went the year before him because we didn't go to school together.
Okay.
But yes,
So you're the
and then
first generation
my
that's
brother's behind me. So there's I have 10 siblings.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah, yep. Same mom, you know, it's like a Wayne's type of thing. And and you know, they're all really, really talented and special in their own kind of ways. I think that um for, you know, half of my brothers, we got opportunities that the other half didn't necessarily get. And so we were able to take advantage of certain type of privileges that we had. And uh one was just, you know, going to college, you know, getting a higher education. Um, you know, so yeah, I believe that I was first, but then right after, you know,
Yeah.
I had
So
some,
okay, so you're among the first to go to college, and then you're going for business, and then you take this acting class, and then it's for theater, I presume.
mm,
When was like that audition or whatever that you did? What year was that?
2013.
2013. Okay.
Yeah.
So you get into theater then. When was your first like film on camera role, and
Okay.
when did that come about after that?
I think like 2017,
Oh, okay.
2018.
Okay. So there's some
Somewhere.
space there where you're still, obviously you graduate, you started a business, right?
Right, right.
Where are you the
What was your
first?
business?
Yeah.
I had a cleaning company.
Oh,
And it was actually like, it was the most money I'd ever made before. I was like, oh, this is great.
Yeah.
hmm
You know, and then my mother got sick, and so,
Mhm.
you know, I
Right.
ended up putting it to the side, and you know, she had 3 months, so she was given. So, you know, we got our time in with her, and, you know, did what we could to take care of her.
Yeah.
But after, it was just, you know, it was that talk that we had. You know, I'm scared of my mom too, so her saying like, "Yo, this is what you need to be doing,"
Mm.
you know, still sounded like, "Boy, you better." Right,
Like,
right,
this is what you're gonna
exactly.
do.
Like, boy, hey. And so, this thing I think I've stuck with longer than anything else I've ever done.
Mhm.
And I think that it's served me well and I care about it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But I think that the foundation is like doing what my mama told me to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
That's so amazing that your mom believed in you so much and wanted you to be happy so much that
Mm.
even with that like tone, like you're gonna do this. Like you
Yeah.
better do this. This is your next step. Um, it was to pursue what was gonna make you happy rather
Mm.
than I think so many parents would be like, don't you dare even try to do that because it's
Right.
not gonna, like you better go into
Yeah.
business. And so I
Exactly.
love that
No.
she was like, you're gonna pursue your dream or I like something's gonna happen.
Yeah, I think once you start to get to those final days and you begin to get perspective on what's important and what's not,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
sometimes we live our lives thinking that, what, money, 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 money.
Hmm.
Right.
And we don't we put away the dreams, we put away the idea we had of the life you know what I mean, that would make us
Yeah.
happy opposed to the
Right.
life that would make us money.
Right.
Hmm.
And I think that for her, she had this crazy kid who
Hmm.
always had these other ideas and always wanted to go this way when everybody's going that way.
Hmm.
And she just kind of saw like, you know, this is what made you happy. And that's what you need to be doing. Yeah. And so we're here. I feel like it's been amazing, to come from stepping in that class and just stumbling upon this industry or this
Hmm.
Mm.
skill to winning awards and you know directing plays and films and things and
Being on TV.
being on TV,
Yeah,
right?
it's huge.
My aunt, she calls me when she sees me on a commercial. She's like, I saw you on the hospital commercial. I saw you. Me and Frazier was sitting here looking like that's our nephew. I was like,
Oh, I love that so much.
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man.
It's very
so
adorable.
so when you do decide to go for it and um in 2017 it's or somewhere in there 2016 17 whatever it is
Hmm.
you said you told someone you're quitting your job or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Who did you tell exactly? Who is this
So,
person?
so somebody I used to see.
Okay.
We were a couple,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time we lived together as well. And
Okay.
so, you know, there was a dependency there, codependency
Yeah.
there, or interdependency. And um, so me going to her and saying, "Hey," so it took some time.
Hmm.
You tell your lady like, "Hey, I'm quit. I ain't gonna be helping you for a little bit." That's just that doesn't really go over well for anybody.
Right.
But it went really, like to hear "I believe in you"
Hmm.
Mm.
was everything that I needed, to to move into this with a certain level of confidence, with a very high level of confidence.
Right.
And so, my philosophy or my thought pattern was to align myself and my name and my image. And, I ended up doing a monologue. And I did as much research as I could.
Hmm.
Um, I ended up calling all all the talent agencies across the
Hmm.
country, and they're like, "Hey, where do you live? Like, we liked your monologue, but where do you live?"
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Minnesota." They're like, "Oh, well, that's a little far," and I got a lot of that until I started to realize, like,
Yep.
I think I got to look locally.
Mm.
I called a big agency out in LA, and they're like, do you have like a big film that you've been in?" I'm like, "Nope." They're like, okay, well, do you have like 50,000 followers on your on your Instagram?
That's a question?
Yeah, I was like, nope. They're like, have you been on SNL or Tonight Show or anything? I was like, nah,
Gosh.
or not SNL. They're like Daily or Tonight Show, and
Yeah.
I'm like, nah. They're like, well, we don't like you. There's no, we're not
Yeah.
gonna represent you. So I'm like,
Oh.
all right, okay, maybe I can't start with Hollywood. Maybe I got to start home. You
That's okay
know?
though. I mean,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
went
yeah,
for it and called them, and I mean,
And you
that's
got a hold
huge.
of someone. That's good.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah, yeah. That was some finagling. That
Oh
was a
yeah.
great journey.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was,
Getting your foot in the door is part of the game too. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
it is.
so tell us about that first film role or TV role, maybe even what.
yeah, yeah. So the first TV role was I played an extra, a featured extra, I guess, and the in an instant.
Mhm.
Um, and so I I play like an FBI agent, but this is a funny story, right? So these big productions, extras can't just roam around everywhere. They're put in a place called extras quarters, right? Like y'all chill,
Mhm.
y'all ain't that special. I'm
Yep.
just kidding, but
I know what you're talking about.
right, right, right. So we're sitting there, and when you pull in, there's like massive trucks and so much going on. So
Hmm.
there are like hundreds of people working. And I'm sitting in this room and I'm new and I'm looking at the other extras and I'm like, I don't want to be here.
Yep.
so so I get up and I leave and I'm going out to where the action is, you know,
Yeah.
literal.
Yeah.
And so one of the first people that I actually the first person that I bump into and I meet, his name is Jim Morgan. So he runs Conduit
Yeah.
Sound. You know, he has a sound stage in Northeast Minneapolis. But I remember him giving me the best advice. Is what I use and what I tell people to this day. He said, "This game, this industry isn't as it's not as much skill as it is. Do people like you? Do they want to work
Mm,
with you?
Right.
yeah.
Right? Or as he say, do people could people camp with you? You know what I mean?
Okay.
Can people
Yeah.
go on a camping trip with you? Right?
Yeah.
And it really was like, oh, like I can lead with just being me, my personality, and you know, I'm a
Hmm.
likable guy. I think I like to think.
Yeah.
Um, and so I moved to the next kind of station, and this I'm able to see the shoot, and I'm dressed in like a suit, like I'm dressed like I, I'm I'm probably somebody who's supposed to step in and be the main character, possibly. Right. And so nobody bothers me. Nobody asks me why I'm here, what you
Nice.
doing, where you know, there's
Hmm.
none of that. And so I'm watching the scene and once the scene's over and, you know, just thinking about how I was raised, you know, I wasn't going to step in and talk to anybody until I knew you know, everything
Hmm.
was moving, everybody was done. But once that scene finished, I spoke to the director and just you know complimented her on you know the way that she was running the set and just how um, you know how she kind of saw the scene going and da 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 da. And then and then we move again, and I meet Carrie Bush, and I meet Bo Hackala, and I meet um, Chris Ballas, and I meet
Hmm.
you know a lot of these really really cool, fun people
Hmm.
who are friends of mine to this day. Um,
Nice.
you know, and I read their resumes and I'm like, oh, okay, I got some stuff to do, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was my introduction, was just kind of learning that this business is more about like if you're somebody people can work with because you could spend weeks and months
Mm-hmm.
with the same people.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what would suck is if they hate you, like they
Yeah.
just like, why are you here? That's just a
Mhm.
very uncomfortable set,
Yeah.
you know.
Absolutely. And I mean, if you don't have that chemistry, eventually that shows up on screen.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
Um, so I really love just asking these like kind of fun questions because I'm always
Mhm.
curious what people are going to say, and then I get really excited by their answers because I agree with everything. Um, who? It's a two-part question.
George
Who
Clooney.
are? I'll say,
No, I
I'll
have no
say,
clue what
who?
you're saying. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
who are your like favorite actors,
Oh,
filmmakers,
wow, that's funny.
and
That's
and
funny.
then second part, what are some of your favorite movies? Like you could just watch
Okay.
over and over again. So yeah, I mean, you kind of
Oh
answered the
man.
question if that's a real
Right,
answer.
right, right. It's not. It's not. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
it was really
No,
funny
no.
though.
Yeah, no, George Clooney's great. But I would say favorites, Denzel, um, I really, really like Jeffrey Wright. Um,
Yes.
I think he's underrated. I think he's phenomenal though.
Mhm.
I mean, and it's
I
just
think
so many
he's
people.
gotten to the point where he's in the Batman, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
So
But he
yeah,
should be in
he's
everything. That's
I,
the thing.
I get, yeah, he was definitely underrated for a very long time.
I think you're right, Alan. I think you're right actually.
But I think
Because
he's
he's
arrived
in
now.
everything. He's
Yeah.
in everything now, actually, all the
I
time.
love
So
it.
I feel like you know, he's. I just watched something with him, and and there's something that he's.
Westworld or
No, 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 no. I don't remember what it was,
okay.
but I know he has something coming out. I think it's what it
Yeah,
was.
he does.
Yeah. So it was a commercial or a trailer, I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
But what I like to watch. I was late to uh Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
And I'm very happy that I was because I felt like it was just my little project to just sit and watch. I watched every episode in like a week or something, just really
Wow.
terrible. Yeah, I know. It was like I'm not doing nothing. I'm gonna just watch this.
I
I'm
love
not
it.
even gonna be a parent this week. I'm just gonna watch this. Um, and let's see. Oh man, one of my favorite love stories, which is very toxic, is called Love Jones. Um, I really like uh I mean, I really like so many movies and it's a lot of movies.
There's a lot.
Um, let's see. I like the Godfather films.
Hmm.
Uh, I really did enjoy those gangster films. I like um some older films. I really like 12 Angry Men.
Mhm.
I
Hmm.
was in the play, so watching the movie, it was like, oh, okay,
Nice.
all right, you got it, buddy, you got it. Um, I feel like my taste in films is all over the place. Uh, my
That's good
kids,
though.
my kids keep me in anime, so
Oh,
I,
anime.
yeah, I have a very strong appreciation for like uh certain like Ghibli films, Ghibli Studios films, and uh like a lot of those animated films that come
Hmm.
out because they have, I'm able to watch them with my kids and then they have really great messages and things like
Yeah.
that. And the storytelling is always like perfect. Um, so I have a strong appreciation for those things. But yeah, I'm all over the place. What's funny though is sometimes like when I wake up, I'm still like the kid who wants to watch his cartoons in the morning. So
Yes.
I don't I don't mind, watching a Batman or whatever, you
Yes.
know. Do you guys have a favorite superhero?
Ooh, lots. Gosh, where to begin? I'd say, I guess one of my favorites is Green Lantern. Um,
Really?
yeah, obviously
Okay.
Batman, Superman, but more recently, really love like Doctor Strange. Um,
Mm,
yeah,
that's what's up.
Um, I so I'm obsessed with Marvel. Like I'm one
Okay.
of the few people left who loves it so much that I don't care that everyone else is burnt out on it because I love everything coming out. So because of that, it's hard. Like I love all the superheroes,
Yeah.
but I tend to lean towards a couple strictly because I love like the actors,
Yeah.
just as people.
yeah,
Uh, one of whom is Chris Evans, so Captain America. Even though Captain
Yeah.
America is honestly kind of a boring superhero, but I love it. I don't care because I
Yeah.
love him.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Chadwick Boseman as
Yeah. Yeah.
Black Panther because
Mhm.
I'm obsessed with it, like obsessed with him. Um, Cried for a couple days after he passed.
Mhm.
Like which is I think crazy being someone who doesn't know a person. But yeah,
Right.
so I lean towards them because I like them as people.
Mm.
But honestly, any of them in the Marvel universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
How about
mhm.
you?
Yeah. Dang, those are good. So I see that you guys on the other sides of the spectrum with
Yeah.
the DC and Marvel.
yeah,
Um, man, I when me and my older brother Will, we were kids, we were very competitive. You know, everything was, oh, your favorite color is blue, mine is red. You know, your favorite
Mhm.
superhero is Superman, mine is Batman, and it's always been Batman. So
yeah,
Nice.
Batman's been my guy. Uh, love, you know, Black Panther when he came out. Um, I love, um, I feel like the DC team does seem to impress me a little bit more. Uh, Black Adam still needs a little shaping, I think, but I feel like, like, maybe it's a nostalgic thing. I've just spent more time with DC too.
Yeah.
Um, but I really, really, really love Blade and all those
Mhm.
films
Yep.
uh, and the thing about Chris Evans, what I love that you said is like Chris Evans is a really talented actor.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
like the superhero. I mean, yeah, he's like the grandfather of the team. Yeah, I get it.
Literally because he's
but,
old. But yeah.
but you see him in these other things, and and you can see, oh, you're actually a really talented actor.
Yeah.
I think it's tough with superhero films because a lot of it is
Mhm.
that's your
Yeah.
lines for like half the movie.
Yes.
yeah.
And for like that kind of role, you have such a small window of who this character has to be.
Right.
So it's tough to have like all these extra layers that you would
Mhm.
normally love to build in. So
Where
I
is
yeah,
she?
Where is he? Yeah. Right.
language.
And you're in a different like dimension saying,
Yeah,
I'll never tell.
right, exactly. Yes.
So you gotta figure out how you're gonna say
they
it.
they give all the lines to the villains. It's kind of
Yeah.
like the opposite in terms of acting. So you kind of get
Yeah.
drawn to them more just because it's like, oh, that's why.
Yeah.
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah,
point. And I think that made it even harder for Captain America because he was so far from any type of villainous,
Yeah.
you know what I mean,
Mhm.
personality to him. Everything was good intentions. Everything was the light of the team.
Yeah.
Um, and that could be why that edginess wasn't really there for,
Yeah.
you
Absolutely.
know. I just know
hence
he had beat up a lot of folks. And that
hmm
was
Did.
and hence Civil War, which kind of made that whole like dynamic different within the Avengers. But
No.
Exactly.
speaking of like process, like do you have a specific thing you like or are drawn to about either acting or filmmaking in general?
Wait,
So,
hold on. Before you answer that, I have one more question about superheroes, and then
Oh
we
boy.
should go to that question because it's good. Batman's your guy. Do you have a like who's your favorite Batman?
Oh
Or
dang,
boy.
your
that's so
least
Oh
favorite
funny.
boy.
Batman?
That's so funny.
Because I have
So I
thoughts
really
about
like
it.
this Robert Pattinson Batman. I really do like it.
Oh.
A lot of folks don't.
Mm.
I do like him. I like the broody, like depressive, like narcissist guy. You
Yeah.
know, I do like that. Uh, I like him for different. I liked George Clooney because he was just smooth and
Mhm.
but the thing is, it was one dimensional. It was like all the
Yeah.
other stuff was unbelievable.
Yeah.
When you get a little older, but at the time, I just thought everything looked cool and Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
But Michael Keaton is like, I mean,
Hmm.
Michael Keaton. What I like about him is he had he had he had the smoothness. He had more edginess than smoothness, though. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? He he looks like he's whooping everybody's ass when he's fighting. Uh, he knew how to create that dynamic between a villain and a hero in a way that was really that kept you tapped in. And I like Kristen Bell's Batman for I don't know. I mean, maybe Kristen Bell's Batman was a more complete
Hmm.
Batman, um, than the other ones. Probably because we got to see so many layers. We got to see him, in these different places in the world. We got to see so much of him. We got to see him up against some really cool villains, and
Mm.
we got to see him lose
Yeah.
people and things like that. So I think
Hmm.
that we got like a more complete version with him of
Yeah.
Batman. But yeah, I haven't been disappointed. I didn't mention Ben Affleck probably because like none of the Ben Affleck movies that I watch are really like I don't really get Batman. I don't
Yeah.
really like, he's like a coach. Like he's like a coach in a Batman suit. So,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yep.
A lot of it is it's really about, the other heroes, I guess,
Hmm.
introducing them.
That's a good point.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Awesome. Sorry, I really wanted to ask that because I feel like that's usually a good, not contentious point with people, but like they just feel really strongly about the Batman stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
True.
But yeah, back
Robert
to
Pattinson, that sucked. No, no.
right.
It'll grow on you. And
Um,
who's the guy who played Penguin in that?
oh,
Colin Farrell.
Yeah, Colin Farrell.
yeah,
Brilliant.
yeah. Like you
Brilliant. I
wouldn't
thought
know
that
that
was
it's
so good.
him.
Yeah, I didn't. I was like, who
Mhm.
the hell is this guy? I was like,
Hmm.
there's a new actor on the scene
Yeah.
who's about to get
Yeah,
a lot of work,
yeah.
And it was like,
Crazy.
nah, I've been here a while. But I know
Yeah,
people were annoyed with the Riddler character, but I just, the Riddler was always annoying,
yeah. He did so well in that role that it was so creepy.
It's a different one, yeah.
Ooh.
Modeled
It
after
was,
Zodiac, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
That makes sense. But yeah, so when you ask the question about processes, what do you mean?
What do you like about it? What's your favorite part about the acting process or
Okay.
filmmaking? I mean, in general, just what do you enjoy about it? I suppose too.
Man, I would honestly say like just being able to work with really talented people, building on a story, like putting a character together. I love rehearsing.
Mhm.
I love rehearsing because you get to try things. You know what I mean? You get to like go 110 in this direction, and it doesn't matter. You may find something. You know what I mean? Or you go 110 the other direction, and you may be able to find something here and here that you can bring together. And the whole discovery part is like this one thing for when you write a story to when an actor does their part and they make those characters live. You know what I mean? They give them personality and things like that. I remember someone asked me after a screening of our film 39 Seconds, and that's a story of a guy named John Wesley Donaldson, probably the best baseball player no one's ever heard of. But he was buried in an unmarked grave, right? He was the highest paid black baseball player in the world in his time. He broke the color barriers by becoming the first black baseball scout in the major leagues. He mentored and helped a lot of Hall of Fame players get into become as great as they were.
Mm-hmm.
And he died as a mailman, and so bringing his story to life was a high honor. But I think one of the coolest things was hearing somebody say, like, how did you know how he sound? How do you know how he moves, how he talks? How do you know that?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I just made it up. And they're like, well, it just sounds like it would be him. It sounds like that's how he would sound. And I think that, it took a lot of understanding like a person and like somebody like him, black, growing up early 1900s.
Where?
So originally Glasgow, Missouri.
Okay.
But once he started playing pro ball, he traveled with I think they're called the All Stars,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. And later on, he was, I don't know if you ever heard of the Kansas City Monarchs,
Mm-hmm.
but it's one of the first Negro League baseball teams. He started it, right? He started that team.
Oh, wow.
He gave it the name and everything. But he, that's when he began to travel, but he actually played here a lot. He met his wife here in Minnesota.
Oh.
And yeah. So when he died, where he was buried was a place in Illinois close to Chicago. I forget what it's called, but it's a cemetery where like Emmett Till is buried there.
Oh.
I believe there's it's a lot of famous black people are buried, in the same cemetery. But anyways, so yeah, bringing that story, bringing that character to life, doing the work that it took, as well as like getting on set and making it come to life, like that whole process is so fulfilling to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of times what happens, so I don't necessarily remember being in front of the camera and action and all that other stuff.
Yep.
I don't really remember that stuff. But I do remember being in the changing room,
Mm-hmm.
I do remember I got my lines like 10 minutes before every shoot, like every
wow.
every setup.
Yeah.
And so having to memorize my lines and the conversations that I have with people 10 minutes before And then, so one of my
What?
superpowers is just memorizing lines. That's my
That's
superpower.
that's an
But
amazing superpower.
it's
10
yeah,
minutes
it's
before
dope.
you deliver
Yeah,
them? Really?
yeah. So for me, and this is what I tell my students is like, don't focus on the
Wow.
lines.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Focus on the character. If you can create the character and then you get his or her words, then um, you'll just say it like they would say it. You would deliver
Mhm.
it like they would deliver it. And so, you know, um, it was really that type of process. But then
Mhm.
the filmmaking process is really great too, because it kind of depends on who you're working with and, you know, what that looks like. But producing and just being able to help people get all the resources that they need to make a scene work, to make
Mhm.
you know, to make an entire project happen. It's just, I love it. I love being able to say, okay, what do we need? Oh, so you think it's kind of impossible with this little tiny budget to get this place and do these things? Watch me, you know, and being able to deliver on those things and, you know, and then create a scene that's like, wow, this was crazy. Like, um, it's the magic of when people come together to do a thing.
Mhm.
Um, I love being in that process.
Is
Man, that's
this,
an amazing answer.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Ellen.
Is this a short or a feature or what is this?
So the last thing I shot was a feature.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, and so it's you know
The 39 seconds film, that's a feature?
oh
Or,
no, so yeah, 39 seconds is like a docu feature, right?
oh,
Oh.
So
like an
we
hour? Or,
yeah, like something like that. I think it's like an hour and something.
okay.
But it's a documentary, but we shot scenes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
um,
Okay.
you know, in between, like, you know, telling.
Gotcha.
So we picked moments in history, um, that he was involved in, or some
Hmm.
things were created or whatever. And,
Okay.
you know, we had some really great writers and researchers and folks and, you know, learning his story it was really tough. You know, it was a really tough process. But there were some really great people who were involved in that, and just you know having that responsibility where I just can't imagine you accomplish so many wonderful things in life, you touch so many people,
Mhm.
and you kind of die forgotten,
Yeah.
right? History forgets about you. But since uncovering his story, telling this story, what we've been seeing is that like he's being considered to enter into the Major Leagues Hall of Fame. You know, he is now like being touted as you know one of the greatest baseball players that ever lived, and I think that that's why we do what we do. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing. Um,
yeah, yeah, it's dope.
so you've had a lot of roles, you've had a lot of success. Um, and I mean that role in itself just seems so like passion filled and heartwarming to be able to have that kind of project and dive into that role. Um, do you have, is there like a role, and maybe it's that one, that stands out as
Nope.
like your favorite? No.
Yeah. So my favorite role, the this so one of the last movies Chadwick Boseman came out with was a from a film called Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Yep.
So that was a play written by a playwright by the name of August Wilson, who wrote that
Yep.
play here in St. Paul,
Ooh.
right?
Hmm.
Um, so I played the same character as him,
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's
and
okay.
so cool.
and that play. So this was like the third play I'd ever been in. So it's when I
Mhm.
was still in school. And it was it was so emotionally demanding. I had
Hmm.
never experienced anything like that before. It
Yeah.
was it was at that moment my director was like, you need to start getting paid for this. And
Wow.
for me, it was like, okay, um, and that experience, a lot of it was just having a great director,
Hmm.
who knew the story, and he was friends with August,
Oh, wow.
and so
That's,
he knew the story in and out, and so
yeah.
being able to um, make a lot of decisions and kind of like feel my way around who that character was, but also got
Mhm.
a lot of like guidance. What I noticed is there was a lot of moments that, and watching the film with Chadwick, where I was like, oh man, I made that decision too. Like that's what I did too. And I think that it may be more like a cultural thing because you do put yourself in these roles that
Yeah.
you take on. Um, but that one was probably my favorite just because it was so emotionally complicated.
Hmm.
That was a complicated guy. I remember one time I did a play, um, and when you're doing plays, you're in a character for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Yes. Hmm.
And so I remember I did a play, and when I finished the shows, uh, I remember going home and I'm talking to somebody, and we get into an argument, and they're like, "You are not Captain Davenport, okay?" I'm like, did I sound like did I? Did, oh my bad, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it
Um,
becomes a part of you.
yeah, yeah. Sometimes it sticks with you. I had to like, I had to be pulled out of that officially. It takes some time though. It's so funny.
It does.
Yeah. So Leonard,
Yeah.
I think I first saw you in. I'm not sure if I'm pretty sure it was in Andrew Stecker's. It was you. You
Oh
were
yeah.
you were in there for a moment, but it it made an impression on me where I was like, oh wow, he's good. I like his
Oh, thanks.
voice. I like his presence. It's like I want to see more of him.
Oh man, appreciate
Uh,
that.
yeah, talk about like doing a Z Fest film and then moving into like a feature film. What was the progression there like for you?
So what's funny is I didn't know it was a Z Fest film. So
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't. I just answered a call, man. My whole philosophy when I first started out was put yourself in a bay of water, right? And connect your name and your marketing material to all these different streams that can lead to your bay of opportunities. And so when auditions came up, when opportunities came up, it was like, all right, I'm gonna chase that down, I'm gonna chase that down, I'm gonna chase that down. It wasn't until um, after I produced a film for Michael Starbury, who wrote a few different Netflix series, and he's the new writer on the Blade film,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and um, once I produced his project is when I was like,
Which project?
so it's not on there. It's not,
Okay.
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. It's called Burner. I
Okay.
produced it and starred in it, and
Ooh.
it's a really, 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 really good story. I really enjoyed that that experience because it was my first time producing.
Hmm.
Mm.
I remember when I first met him, and I told him like, "Yeah, no, I'm a producer in town. Yeah, right."
Yeah.
And this is my first year in film, right? This is like right off in an instant. But uh, uh, he was like, "Oh, okay, well, dope. There's I mean, so I had an understanding,
Hmm.
what producing was, but
Yeah.
I never done it. I didn't really know what I was doing, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely made it seem like that to him. It's the acting skills. But anyways,
Yeah.
so he's like, you know, all right, so I'm trying to figure this out over here. If it doesn't work out over here, I'll come to you.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, no, yeah, hit me up. Here goes my information, da da da. And I'm just thinking I'm talking to a superstar, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I just, like 6 months later, he hits me up. He emails me and he's like, hey, you still want to produce my project? I was like, yeah, man, yeah, that's cool. But like, oh, what? Yes, right. So I was having a little heart attack or whatever,
Yeah.
a happy attack,
Yeah.
and so first thing I did, like any responsible person who may not know what they're doing, is I went to YouTube, right, and I went to Google. How do you do this? Like, what is this actually?
Yeah.
What is a producer? What does I was looking up the definition, and there's so many, and I kind of like called on some people that I knew produced and was like, hey, all right, I lied. What did I do? So
Yeah.
and so we and so we uh, had David Buchanan attached to it,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
so David and I, we both came on as producers, and really put together a really, really great film. Um, I didn't know the releasing the film part of the producing,
Mm.
Oh yeah.
so that never happened. But
Still
I
could.
still got it.
It
I
could.
still,
Yeah.
I still got it.
Could happen.
Still got it.
Yeah.
Totally could.
There's a drought coming, so they need, content out there.
Pow,
It's true.
pow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what? And it's ready. I wonder if
Do it.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
release it for 2024, yeah. But anyways.
There it is. They'll be like, you
Uh,
don't look like that no more.
It's the makeup, it's the acting, It's,
Exactly.
it's not AI, but
Right.
But special effects makeup.
Camera takes 20 pounds off.
yeah.
Is there a genre that you've enjoyed doing the most, or maybe
Man.
even kind of on the flip side, like if you haven't done a genre and you're like, that would be amazing to dive in and try it.
So I do drama really well, but I love comedy, right? I think that my instincts are in comedy. But I would love to do like a rom-com, or I would love to do like a romantic film. I would love to do an action film. I mean, like a John Wick type of
Ooh.
something. I would love to do something like that. I feel like I would be great. So like,
Mhm.
I have, yeah, I feel like I would be great. I could do some grunting, I could run fiercely, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And look very intense as I run. I feel like it would be interesting. Oh, I would love to do a Western.
Ooh.
Yeah, a
All
Western or something in space or whatever. That would be great. So
genre, yeah.
yeah, like
yeah. I love it.
Other than like horror, I think that horror is one of those things where I'm like,
Rahana's okay with that.
I'll at
Hate
least,
horror movies.
if I did it, I wouldn't be able to see it,
Right. Yes. I'm with you on
Like,
that.
hold on. So this thing is supposed to jump out and scare me. So I'm supposed to be scared. What if it really scares me?
Exactly. Like, what if it really scares me and I accidentally punch him in the face? Like, then I'm
Right.
going to feel bad
Right.
and ruin the take, and then he's not going to want to jump out and scare me again. It's going to be a whole thing.
Exactly. Or if I peed a little, like,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm known to pee a little. So
And then you want me to run away when I feed myself? Like, that's not going to work.
Yeah,
It'll
like
leave
those
a trail. Nobody
Right,
wants the
exactly.
trail.
We
I
can't do a
can't
second cut.
can't.
Or a
Yeah,
That's
second take.
terrible. Oh
I
my
can't go
God.
to haunted houses because I do have that instinct where I go
You
into
want to
fight.
elbow?
Yes, yes, I did this at a Universal Studios thing, Van Helsing something,
Oh
and
my.
luckily there was a security person there to prevent me from
Oh
like
my God.
backhanding this
Oh,
guy
wow.
who jumped
Oh
out
my
because
God.
I guess maybe people have done that
Yeah.
You
before.
almost
So
elbowed Jackal and Hyde.
yeah, someone. I have no idea. I was like, "There's something coming. Get rid of it," you know.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Oh, that's great.
But
I don't
That's
yeah.
great.
understand the draw to haunted houses. I don't get it.
Well, I purposely
Ah,
don't do that because I might hurt someone. So
yeah.
Yeah.
it's like,
I went to a haunted house once. It was out in like Shakopee or something like that.
Hmm.
hmm.
And I think I made it through. I think I'm gonna say it on this show
You
that I
weren't
made it
strolled
through.
out of the place,
Yep.
passed out. You sure it was a hayride? You know, you just passed out from the
So
cider. You know.
I did the hayride afterwards, right? And
Oh, that's
they
chill.
had it where no, the hayride was. I mean, they put like turbo on that joint, right? So
Ooh.
we're riding. They ain't put turbo on it, but it was going a little fast, or maybe the characters. So there's a guy. He hops out of the cornfield, and he has a chainsaw, and he's running after us. And I'm like, this is really cool. Actually, I kind of like this. Just don't catch up. Don't
Yeah.
catch up. 'Cause
Right. Yeah.
I will throw this lady at you,
It's like
and then
the Jurassic Park scene when the dinosaurs chasing them. It's like must go faster. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
I've done one haunted house, and the whole time I forced my friends to be right in front of me and right behind me. I held on to the person in front of me's shirt, and I just put my head in their back, and my eyes were closed the
yeah.
whole time. I was
Oh,
like, if
that's
any
funny.
of you purposefully scare me, even if there's nothing happening, you're not making it out of this house. Like, say that.
That's hilarious. That's
I
funny.
can't handle it.
your
Now,
your story about being on was it In an Instant, right? And when you
yeah.
kind of did a tour of the set, I feel like that was me also when I was an extra on a set. It was just like, oh, I'm just
Yeah.
gonna, you know what? I'm hungry. Where's the food? You know, and go find that. And and then you run. I am like, oh, I'm not supposed to be over here because Katie Holmes is over here and like her old group and whatever. So I'm just like, oh, okay, I've gone a little too far. So it's like,
Got Katie Holmes on,
yeah,
but she doesn't know if you're a PA. You know,
exactly. Like I was kind of like, well, maybe the wardrobe gave it away, but you know, so it's like
right.
things like that. It's like,
Listeners, don't take this as advice.
no, yeah, don't try this at home.
Right, don't try this on a set.
Or on set.
Right,
So
but
so what do you have up next? What's next for you here?
so really, I really like. Oh man, I miss acting. I miss the whole film world. I've been doing a lot of like directing.
Mhm.
But my focus lately has been the mixer and the remix.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been about building a platform to help diversify sets and, give people of color who really don't have an in or don't really know where in or access into this industry can be.
Mhm.
So, it's a platform that kind of bridges communities and helps give people training, give them, networking opportunities. You may not meet Denzel Washington, but you may meet that director that that could shoot your story, or you might meet that actor that can play that lead role for you, or whatever it is, and you can
Yeah.
get to work tomorrow. You know what I
Wow.
mean?
Right.
And so that's really the premise of it. And the next one that we're doing, we just had one in September that you moderated that panel for, that I need to give you some
Yeah,
get you
we'd love
this
to share it
footage.
on the podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, the next one is in Houston in March, so
Fun.
it's garnered some,
In
some
Houston?
attention. Yeah, it's gonna be in
Wow.
Houston, and then we're gonna go to a few other cities after that. We're looking at Chicago. We heard
Oh.
Albuquerque is interested. Um,
That's fantastic.
the Bay Area, a few other places, and then 2025 we're looking to take it global. So we're building a global community where
Wow.
we can, yeah, because I really believe that innovation, the intersection of innovation is diversity
Hmm.
at the intersection of innovation. I feel like when you're introduced to new ideas, new people, new cultures, it kind of helps you see your life and your understanding from a different point of view. And then all of a
Hmm.
sudden, new ideas come from that, new understandings come from that,
New
evolution,
films come from
new
that.
films,
Yeah.
new stories, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I think that's, you know, we're tired of the same kind of stories, same kind of
Hmm.
movies.
Yeah.
But a lot of it is because it's the same kind of people writing them.
Yep.
And so, this industry doesn't belong to anybody. Um, and there's just opportunity, there's an abundance of opportunity to just create together.
Mhm.
So we want to create that. We want to be that platform that people can meet and start their journey into this industry.
That's brilliant. I love that. Um,
Oh,
so kind of going off of that, where like a three-pronged question, where can people find your work? Where can people contact you if they want to maybe work together? And how can people support the the mixers and the, like your
it's my stuff.
yeah, your stuff. There was a word and it was gone and yeah. But anyway, your stuff.
It's all right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, follow us on social media platforms, Westbone Productions. Westbone is one word. Um, for any questions you want to reach out, you want to work, um, uh, best place to contact me is my email. So it's Searcy, Searcy at westboneproductions.com. Or, social media as well. Currently I'm off of Instagram, just taking a hiatus for a little bit.
Hmm.
But Facebook Messenger is hard to get rid of on my phone right now, so it's still there. You
Yeah.
know.
Hmm.
So yeah, you contact me there. Right now, our Westbone page is being um, is going under like a development and whatnot to prepare for these remix events that are happening all next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it'll be back up pretty soon. But when it is, we'll make the announcement on social media, and you know, um, those different those different ways. But I'm wondering if there's anything else. Yeah, right now that's really what it is. I would say once the site is up, subscribe so that you can get deals on, the events, on merch, on, whatever it is that we got going on. Um, yeah, that's really,
All
yeah,
right.
I
that's
love
the
that. I love
situation.
that you have merch. I need to get on
Yeah.
that. It's like
Get you
just
some merch,
something.
We
man.
need some
Yeah, get
Alan
some
merch.
merch. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, not that, but
Yeah, no, I think that'd be dope. Film in
Yeah.
Minnesota merch, that'd be
Yeah.
that'd be
yeah,
dope.
yeah.
I'll
I
come up with
think
something
Allen
cool.
merch would be cool too, though,
Right?
It just be
We
your
gotta have
face on people's
exactly.
shirts. I
Yeah,
feel like
no.
Alan's takes.
I
Um,
think that's a great idea, actually.
right? That should be one of the options.
It's like
I'm
Yeah, brought to
saying.
you by Westbone Productions, Alan's Takes.
Yes, there we go. I like it.
Right, and it's just a straight face. You're not smiling. You're not curious or nothing. It's just
Yeah, just
Yeah.
the director face, like, what are you doing?
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
oh my
Oh,
gosh, that'd be great. Um, cool, man. Yeah,
yeah.
this
All right.
this is great. These are some great questions.
I got one more for you. I got the big one.
What's the big one?
Um,
I
what
do.
do you,
I mean, yes.
um, maybe, what do you want people to remember most about you?
Wow. Um, I would say Westbone Productions, unless it ends up like, you know, that fire festival thing. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It won't happen. That won't happen.
I'm just kidding.
they make a
No, but
documentary and everything. Oh boy.
Right?
I'm a producer, I swear.
I swear, I swear. That's terrible. No, let's see. Remember most. So, I grew up, um, 10 different siblings, um, a mom who did a lot by herself,
Mhm.
basically did it all by herself. Um, I wasn't necessarily poised you know, um, for greatness, for lack of better words. I wasn't really poised wasn't really prepared to dream big and to want to do these different things. And I remember my mom would just wonder, like, where in the hell are you getting this from? Like, why, why are you like this? And, I, you know, I would want to be remembered as someone who could, um, lend an idea to you at whatever stage that you're at, that, um, it's okay to dream big. Um, it'll never hurt you, for one. And for two, whatever is in your mind, if it's good for people, like it deserves to be realized. And there's going to be a lot of forces that may be against, what your ideas are, um, uh, what, what you have in you is not, it's not to be perverted by other people's opinions and other people's ideas of what you should be or what you should be doing or thinking about or what your identity is and things like that. It needs to breathe. It needs to come out. And so, a lot of times our dreams are journeys, and you know, if you could look at it like that and you prepare yourself to be who you need to be in order to make this thing fly, you do that. You do it every day, and in the meantime, you do the things that keep you healthy and happy. So, yeah, if I could just be that,
Mhm.
you know, I'd be good.
I absolutely love that. That's lovely. My gosh.
Yeah.
You need to write a book, and that needs to be just chapter one, just like straight to the point with that. Because I feel like so many people need to hear it, but also repeatedly, like to just remind themselves.
Yeah.
And so,
And
and like knowing that there is someone out there who believes that and who wants to reiterate that, and you're that
yeah,
person.
and this too, like if this fails, like don't forget me because I might need a job from you. Like, you might be the one that's hiring me. So just remember, like that's that
Yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Amazing. Leonard, it's been so much fun getting to talk to
Yeah,
you
it
and
was.
getting to know you. This has been awesome. So thank you so much for taking the time and your night to hang out with us.
Yeah,
For
thank
sure.
you.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys. Alan, I assure you, I am going to go through these files tonight and I am going to we transfer something over to you. At the
Great.
same
We
time.
look forward to adding that to the page. No, never mind.
Yeah.
To the podcast. Yeah, we would love to. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great experience there, and I think everyone should attend who can, whenever the next one is here. So, yeah.
Cool, man. I'm
Yeah.
glad you were there. Well, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate it
Yeah.
and
Thank you
this
so
opportunity.
much. And for all of our listeners, this has been Film in Minnesota.